Stronger together. Stronger, stronger together.
All right, I am Karel, and welcome to another edition of Karel Life in Segments. There's a song lyric in my head right now, and now no matter when you're watching this, I think you're going to relate that this ain't no party. It's from Dreamgirls, a song called This Ain't No Party. And in the election of 2016, if anything, is going to be remembered for the fact that there really wasn't any one party running. Now, let me explain to you what I mean. You all think we have a two-party system, but we don't. We have a no-party system. And that's why nothing, Miss Pippa, seems to be getting done at all. Even the campaigns are just out of control on all sides. Liberal, progressive, Democratic, whatever, Republican. Let me tell you what I mean. You know, I said this on air the other day. Miss Pippa, I got to move. Do you mind if I move, honey? Here, you can just sit right here. There you go. Oh, there you go. Okay. You just nap while I tell everybody interesting information that they really need to know. We don't have two parties anymore. We really have, well, right about now we have four, given the candidates. The Democratic Party is acting like COPD. Now, COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder. My mother died of it. But it's not any one disease. It's an umbrella under which congestive heart failure, renal failure, all kinds of other things fall. Then you have AIDS. AIDS, you don't die from. What you die from is an opportunistic infection that comes along under the umbrella of AIDS. So we have both Democrats being, sort of like COPD, and the Republicans being kind of like AIDS, in so much as under their umbrella, there's a whole lot going on. With Democrats, we have Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders is a democratic socialist, and that's a really good thing. That's what the country needs right now. It doesn't need austerity. Bernie Sanders is not a millionaire. His net worth is somewhere around $526,000. Bernie Sanders understands what's going on in America right now because he is not. And it's amazing to me that I would say this, given that he's worth $500,000. But in America today, that's nothing. The house that we are, the house right here, Park Howard, if I were to sell it, would be $540,000, Bernie Sanders' net worth. I believe that he understands me. And he knows that we need to expand Medicare. We need to expand education. We need to, build more public transportation. He's a democratic socialist, which is not a bad word. Then we have Hillary Rodham Clinton, who is not really a Democrat. She's a moderate. But she would fall under, just like in COPD, she'd, like congestive heart failure would fall under it. She would fall under the category Democrat. She's a Democratic moderate. She is sometimes more Republican than Republicans. Remember, she was not all for same-sex marriage. Hillary Clinton hasn't been on the right side of issues until she's needed to be on the right side of issues. Then inside the Republican Party, we have the Jeb Bushes and those who are trying to be, quote, Republicans. I would call them moderate Republicans. Remember now that Ronald Reagan would be a liberal Republican. In fact, Ronald Reagan would be with Hillary Clinton and be in the party of moderate, believe that or not. Then we have Republicans, and then inside the Republicans, we have, or under this umbrella, like sort of like AIDS, we have the neo-Confederates or the neo-conservatives. So what you've really got is no more Democrats, no more Republicans. You've got a democratic socialist, you've got a moderate, you've got the right, and you've got the neo-conservatives. And when you have four parties, where two of them each fall under the umbrella of these old parties, what you have is no real platform, no real identity, and no real discussion within those groups. I truly believe that Bernie Sanders should be president with Hillary Clinton as vice president. That's an unpopular opinion. If you're watching this after the election of 2016, then we'll know how that all played out. I just think that he understands what we need more right now. But he's not a Democrat. He's a Democrat socialist. Hillary Clinton is not a Democrat. She's a moderate. So when you have so many parties, it becomes no party at all. So here's what you do. If it's before the election of 2016 that you're watching this, tune everything out until the primary, until your primary in your state. Tune everything out. It's all just silly and ridiculous. Watch our shows. Watch what we're doing over here. Tune all of that noise out. We'll keep you informed about what's going on. Because when there's 4 parties and 2 of those parties or 3 of those parties aren't even about you, and that's really what this is about. You know, which of those 4 parties is about you? The neo-Confederate conservatives? Nope. That's not you. The right, which used to be the Republicans? Nope. That's not you. The moderates, which are Hillary Rodham Clinton? It's somewhat you, but not really. If she were president for 8 years, when she left, would we have high-speed rail? Would we have an increase in the minimum wage? Would we have, welfare doubled for those who need it? Would the poverty level actually be raised, the number from 24,000 to what it really is? No, probably not. And then we have Bernie Sanders, who actually wants to come in with some of these big groundbreaking policies. And if he could work with the Congress and the Senate, might actually get some of them done. So when I look at all of that, it's really 3 against 1 is what it really is. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but do yourself a favor. Listen to us and all the other shows around me. Don't bother listening to all that noise until the primary in your state. All right, we've got a great show for you, so stay tuned in. I promise no more ranting. Oh, no, I don't. Who am I to promise that? All I know is it ain't no party going on. It doesn't look like it's going to change in 2016, so the next hope we got is 2020. And when your only hope is a show that used to be good and now is not good because Barbara Walters is gone from it, well, life is looking kind of dismal at the moment. Right, Pippa? 2020 before we have real change. All right, hey, welcome to another edition of Cooking for the 99. And this is where we try to make your yearly budget match what the USDA says the average American spends on food, which is about $6,000 or about $15 a day, basically, give or take here or there. Some days might be 20, some days might be 10. And I think that's important, and people might wonder, what is a cooking segment, doing on a show like this? Well, first of all, it's my life in segments, and I eat. And second of all, the Battle of the Bulge is one of America's biggest problems. It really, truly is. We are a fat nation, and the health of America directly relates to everything, everything. How much money we're spending on health care. As I'm 53 November 7th. And the fact is that Paul Ryan, who is now the Speaker of the House of Representatives, would cut the healthcare system that may help me when I get older. And so I'm going to have to be as healthy as I can going into my senior years because people like Paul Ryan want to make sure that if I get there, there might not be an insurance to cover me. And one of the most important things, of course, is food and what you put in your bodies. Now, the economics of the kitchen is astronomical, and it really should be. Now, I was just reading here from the USDA's website on my iPad mini. I got to tell you, the numbers are staggering. $1.4 trillion we spend on food as Americans. And a lot of that now, as it says down here in this wonderful little infographic, where about U.S. food sales are split evenly between at-home and away-from-home markets. That's what it says here. Meaning that 49.6% of our budget, which has gone down the percentage we spend on food. We used to spend about 16% 30 years ago. Now we spend about 9%. The only reason that portion of our budget has gone down is because food prices have gone down. Believe it or not. Compared to the rest of the world, food prices haven't shot through the roof, although as expensive as you may see or think that they are, they're not really where they could be. Take oil, for instance, where it's $4 a gallon. So the numbers of the kitchen are astronomical. But one thing that is for certain, there can be no doubt from every number that I read at the USDA, and we'll put all this at the website, reallykarel.com, everything that I read
is that it is cheaper ultimately and healthier to eat at home. It simply is. However, we're going out and having bad, cheap food. You know who you are. For lunch, you're not bringing your lunch from home. You're not cooking something and bringing it with you. You know who you are. But you could be. And you could be doing delicious stuff. But it's going to take some kitchen classism. Now, I want to tell you a true story. This is the first excellent pan to ever come into Park Howard that my late husband, Andrew Howard, bought. And he saved up and got a credit card at Macy's because they sold good cookware. And he got the credit card with the explicit purpose of getting good cookware. Because his philosophy was, cookware and shoes, you don't skimp. No matter how poor you are, you save up. You buy something that'll get you through, but you save up. And if you have to get piece by piece or whatever it takes, you accumulate good cookware, just like he said, good shoes. And he couldn't be more right. It is an investment, but you don't want to cheap out on it. And a lot of us have to save up to get it, or hope that we get it for a gift, or make it known that we want it. He saved up for months to buy this Calphalon 30 years ago now. They're going to replace it for me, by the way, because it looks like it's been used for 30 years. And so when I was doing the cooking for the 99, someone said, why don't you contact some cookware manufacturers and see if they'll send you stuff. Well, Allclad did. Allclad sent this great set of cookware for me to use on Cooking for the 99, and I thank them for it. But they had some reservations. They said maybe we should send you the Tefal line because that's more lower end. It's available at Targets and Walmarts, and you know, this is really high-end cookware. And I told the publicist the story of Andrew and how he said that you saved up for good cookware, that you didn't skimp out, because if you're going to make good food in here, you have to have the equipment. And what you see in front of me is mine, and you can accumulate it over time, but these are must-have items if you're going to cook for you and your family and save money. Yes, they are a one-time investment, but they last forever, and they're going to open up your palates. They're going to open up so much to you and your family. So I wanted to go over, first of all, good cookware. Now, as I said, Allclad was nice enough to sponsor this segment, and they sent us this, the great saucepans and frying pans. Do like Andrew, if you can only afford one or two, get a good frying pan, a good saucepan like this. 7-inch, 9-inch, 15, whatever you can afford, even if you can afford one. And they come with universal lids, so you buy the lid once and it covers all the pans. And then be sure you get a good stock pan or a good Dutch oven, because you're going to want to stew things and put it away and freeze it for yourself and for others. So a good set of cookware, whether it's Calphalon or Allclad or whoever you choose to go with, it's really crucial. And be sure that it's got the bonded handles and is that different treated metals. The guy that invented Allclad actually is the guy that's responsible for our money, our nickels, dimes, and quarters. When we went off the silver standard, Mr. Ulam, U-L-A-M, who invented Allclad's cookware, he was the one who instructed the government how to make the bonded metals that now make up our coins. So you basically have Allclad in your pocket. A good food processor. A listener to my Karel cast gave me this for my birthday one year, literally sent it to me because they heard me say that I wanted one, but I was too cheap to buy one, but Andrew would buy me one for my birthday. So they took it upon themselves and sent me one, and I thanked them for it. First I turned it down and said, no, I can't take this. And then they're like, please, I want to give him. Okay, so a good food processor. You must have one for various things. I use it for almost everything. This back here is the best dessert maker you'll ever have. It's by Cuisinart. There are different methods out there, but why do you want this? To make good desserts, because you're going to want sweets. You're going to want snacks. What you do is you freeze this and you keep it in your freezer. Then when you want to use it, you put it in here, you put this blade in there, you put this on it, you turn it on. Within 20 minutes, you have delicious ice cream or sorbet or frozen yogurts. I put Greek non-fat yogurt with fresh fruit and maybe a dash of honey or maples, or whatever you want to use as a sweetener in there, and it freezes up in 20 minutes. It's delicious. It's a dessert. It's non-fat and low sugar, and it's all very good for me. Juicers. Do not get one of those juicers where you shove the fruit and vegetables through and part of it goes this way and the other goes that way. All the good stuff is going the other way. You want to use something that keeps the whole fruit. I chose the Ninja because it comes with the cup. Vitamix also makes a really, really good one. They're expensive. It's an investment. It never wears out. This has been used 3 times a day because I make my drinks. So be sure you get something like this because you're going to be able to cook soups in here. You can throw some, let's say, butternut squash that you've roasted. You throw it right up in here. You throw in some non-fat milk if you like, or half and half if you don't care. You throw in some stock, you whiz it about, and you have butternut squash soup in instants. So you've got to have something like that. Probably the most important thing in your kitchen, your KitchenAid or other brand, but they're the gold standard, mixer. And it's really because of the meat grinding attachment. Because you're going to be able to save so much money buying chicken or turkey on the bone or boneless, for like 90 cents a pound, and then grinding it yourself. And having freshly ground turkey or freshly ground chicken. This kit comes with most of the larger mixers. Again, they're an investment. They're about $300-400 if you get a good one. It's going to last forever. This one is going on 30 years old. Andrew tricked me into buying it. I had a friend. We were very competitive, and Andrew was taking a cooking class. They were making a cake in the cooking class, and I was there to watch him graduate. And he looks back at me and he says, Don Hobkirk has a KitchenAid stand mixer. Well, we were sitting right by a Macy's. So up I leapt and went to the Macy's and bought this. I was used. My husband totally manipulated me because he wanted this mixer, but he got it. And it has been in duty for 20 plus years with its meat grinding attachment. I often use this to make the dog food too and grind up the meat for that. There's a rice steamer back here. You don't necessarily need that, but it can certainly come in handy to take that task off of you to cook rice or quinoa. Or other such things. A vacuum sealer is going to be your best friend. You can even get them at garage sales. You can get them at the thrift stores. Get them, buy them. Food Saver's been one of the biggest brands. You can see this one is used. I use it daily. I freeze the dog food plus my own food that I pre-make, and it makes it so much cheaper to just freeze this up or to seal it up in that. And that way you can keep it. And one of my favorite things that is a kitchen utensil that nobody needs, but I'm so glad I have because I use it 3 times a day, is this Breville tea maker that my friend Eric Palicha gave me because he said anyone that loves tea as much as I do. So you can set it, you can program it. This is your teapot, and the beautiful thing is that this wonderful basket in here sits on this magnetic thing. It drops down into the water. It knows what kind of tea you're steeping and how long it needs to steep. I have to tell you, having fresh tea ready when I wake up, thank God he gave it to me because I could never afford it. But $250 for that teapot. I'm not making that up. So these are your essentials. Don't skip on cookware and don't skimp on knives. Save up if you have to. A good knife should cost you anywhere between $70, $80 to $100 or more. As you can see back there, we have an assortment, but they didn't come all at once. We saved up for them. I gave this one to Andrew for Christmas about 15, 17 years ago. It have to be longer now. So save up. They last forever. And get yourself a magnetic knife holder so people will think you're a serial killer when they walk into your kitchen. Don't go out and get all of this all at once. Save up. Get your cookware piece by piece. Get a good food processor in your house. Get a good juice extractor that keeps the fruit and the juice and the vegetable all together. Get a great mixer that can also serve as a meat grinder. Get a dessert maker. Oh, how could I forget? Oh my God. A hand mixer. They're 25 or $30. It will save your life for soups and stocks and all kinds of things. And then a vacuum sealer. If you invest in this over time, what's going to happen is in your kitchen, you're going to have an arsenal. And you are going to be able to attack every challenge of every meal. And you're going to have everything that you need at your disposal. So cooking won't be such a chore. And guess what? You'll start doing it more and saving money. Because the investment in this, okay, all of this doesn't cost what you spend on fast food in 1 year. You could have all of this cookware, everything that you see here, a brand spanking new. These are mine. They're used. No one sent me these. I bought these. And you could have all of this in your kitchen for if you just stop going to fast food every year. That's it. That money that you saved from eating at home would buy you all of this. So you need to get some kitchen snobbery, I call it. piece at a time, set at a time, unit at a time, and you will have what you need in your arsenal to attack. I'm going to put all this back because I have to use it to cook Hamburg vegetable chowder and la bouche chinoise as part of our cooking for the 99. And that's where this is going to come in handy because you vacuum seal it for your freezer. We're going to grind the meat that we're going to use because some chicken is on sale and you need it ground. So we're going to use this to grind the chicken. We're going to use this to process some of the vegetables, and we're probably going to cook it in this. So you can see how one meal right there is going to take up many of these devices. I don't want to forget two important things. If you don't get a rice steamer, get a bamboo steamer. If you see them at a garage sale, buy them. If you see them at a thrift store, buy them. At a 99-cent store, buy them. You set this on top of a pot of boiling water. You can steam all kinds of fabulous things from tamales to vegetables. You can make it 1, 2, or 3 levels. They work. They've worked for centuries. No kitchen is complete without a bamboo steamer, so get yourself one. And then this fabulous thing here is a luxury, but if you see one, nab one. It's by Cameron's, and it's a smoker. And you actually smoke fish or meat or other things right there on the top. Now, we know that processed meats are not that good for you, but you could take a piece of fish. I take a piece of salmon. I put it in here, yes. It's 1 o'clock. I put the salmon in here with some wood chips underneath it. Let it go for about 30 minutes. Oh, the best smoked salmon you'll ever have. So if you see one of these out, a Cameron's smoker, or any other kind of, you can see how used this is. We have used this for years and years. It's never let us down. The wood chips are very affordable, and it just, again, opens up your palate and opens up your kitchen to so much. So, and again, because of the economics, you could buy everything in this kitchen with just the money you saved if you ate at home instead of eating fast food over the next year. So invest in yourself, invest in your kitchen, get some good stuff going. We're going to show you how to use it on Cooking with the 99 and how to save money at home. Okay, now I got to put it all back. Oy.
5, 6, ready, and... It is the Karel Cast. I am Karel, and I want you to imagine going to the airline counter and the ticket lady saying to you, now, there's an 85% chance your plane is not going to make it. Okay, that's scene number 1. Now, before you determine what you're going to do with scene number 1, where you walk up and you hand in her your electronic ticket, which never works anyway, and she says to you, you know, there's an 85% chance that your plane ain't going to land. I want you to imagine scenario number 2. You walk up to the counter, and you look as haggard as you do these days while traveling. And she says to you, you know, there's a 99.9% chance your plane isn't going to land. Let me ask you, are you more apt to get on the plane for 85, 99, or are you going to opt to not get on the damn plane and find another form of transportation? Well, of course, you're not going to get on the plane. Why? Because neither 85 nor 99.9 is acceptable. Okay, let me tell you why this is important. Oh, let me tell you why. Can you tell me why? Oh, to Jimmy Somerville, Bronski Beat. Hi, Steve Bronski. We toured together. Anyway, so let me tell you why this is important. There's a story that, of course, nobody is talking about because there's, Kardashians left on the planet, and we still need to talk about them. And so there's, or their spouses or something, some of their spawn. And so there's a story that came out 2 days ago that if Paul Giamatti were here, he would be calling this big press conference, okay? If there were like an action hero here, a Sly Stallone and whoever, Bruce Willis, they would be making this big announcement and calling for, mass action. But of course, it's a story that's just been buried because it deals in science. Science, the liberal construct to disprove God. That's what science really. If you ask someone on the right, what is science? It's, they want to disprove God. Yeah, whatever. But science has told us, okay, just in the last
2 days for me. No matter when you're watching this, it's still out there. But in late 2015, science has told us, Caltech right here, okay, has told us that in Southern California, okay, in Southern California, the dry desert that it is, in the next 2.5 years, meaning from October of 2015 all the way up to 2017, all the way up to then, we have a 99.9% chance of an earthquake 5.0 or above. Okay? So they released this story and no one reported it. Just nobody really reported it. It was released and no one really carried the story. Well, some people didn't want anyone to get alarmed because that basically says we're going to have a 5.0, which can do some damage or larger in the next 2.5 years. That this is a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen. 99.9, honey. It's going to happen. However, the USGS, which barely ever makes a statement, made a statement and said, oh, no. This is all over-exaggerated. We've looked at the same data, and we think there's an 85% chance of Southern California having a 5.0 earthquake or above within the next 2.5 years. And so I thought to myself, is that something else? Are we supposed to feel better? I'm supposed to feel good about that? 85%, 99%, what's the matter? An earthquake is a coming, children. And what are we going to do about it? Well, in the words of a chorus line, a deep down nothing. We're going to do nothing. Yes, we'll do nothing, because that is what we'll do. Why? Let me ask you. If you live, I don't care where you live, if you're watching this in the Midwest, you probably don't have a tornado plan, because you think a doorway is going to help save your ass in a tornado. No. No matter where you live, there are natural disasters. Some of you prepare, most of you don't. Now, in California, less than half. There are 4 of us in this room right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 of us in this room. How many here have an earthquake kit? Who here has an earthquake kit? You have an earthquake kit? Do you really? Good for you. Barrett has an earthquake kit. Do you two have an earthquake kit? Neither of you, Kurt? No? Brandon, no earthquake kit? You need to make sure that you have a real emergency kit. It has to have cash. One time, Andrew and I were on our way to KFI after an earthquake to go on air. We stopped to get gas. The ATM was down because the network was down. We didn't get gas. We couldn't go. Medications that you might need. Medications your pets may need. A gallon of water per day for you and your pets and every member of your household. I don't care if and what about in your car? Because that's where you might be where this happens, or at work. Do you have a plan where you know who to call out of state? Should you and your family get separated, the worst feeling in the world, not knowing where your loved ones are? We know, science now tells us this is going to happen. Are you making a plan so if you and your family are separated, you all know who to call? I hope after watching this, you're a little shaken up. And I'm using the metaphor, because I want to. And I hope that you won't be like the right and ignore science. And whether it's an 85% chance or a 99.9% chance, you'll say to yourself, that's a big enough chance, I'm going to prepare. And if you live outside of California, if you live in a place where there's tornadoes or hurricanes or whatever it might be, how about you do yourself a favor and prepare just a little tiny bit? I am Karel, and all of this makes me want a meals ready to eat, so I'll go get one.